Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to the Walker Air Transport NASCAR 2022 series. So we're here for our next leg. We are traveling from the Bristol race down to Texas, which is in 2022, took place on Sunday, September 25th. So we're going to be flying to the Ross Perot Airport. We're flying out of Tri-Cities Regional. So a little bit of a shorter runway, but we landed here. We should be able to take off. It's 6 a.m. here. 6:02 is when we're here, so it's a little dark. But by the time we get off and going, I'm imagining that it is going to be just fine. So, trying to just get going this morning. So we'll get our data from SimBrief. It's going to be a little bit over a 2-hour flight, so this will be the typical type of setup that we normally have. So you can see, what do we got? An American Eagle next to us there. So pretty small location, not a lot of gates or ways to get passengers on, but this is ramp 3 or gate 3 here. But in any event, let's get ourselves up to the panel. I'm trying to figure out, I've got so we're gonna. I'm trying to run with my full contingent here, so we will see how all of that goes. All right, so we've got GSX loading the aircraft. It says the doors are open, so we should be all set. So, whoops, cancel. So, cabin crew's not on board. The loading bays are closed. So, we're going to want to go ahead. Let's see what we've got. Looks like they've got an updated version of GSX Pro. I just updated it, but they've been doing a bunch of things. So we'll request refueling. We'll do Delta as the choice that it's wanting. So I'm waiting to start the APU. Right, so the SimBrief quantity, just to be sure, I am looking at 18,504 pounds of block fuel. Let me start going through here. So we need position in it. We're going to do route, flight plan request. Grab that. There's our fuel and so forth. So we're going to select the route. It should load, showing that we're going to have 128 passengers from self-loading cargo. 111 of them are checked in. Expected departure is 38 minutes. I think it was going to be 10 minutes before the cabin crew was set to arrive. So there we go. We've got, I can activate, execute. Alright, so it's setting the planned fuel, so it should be good. We are departing on runway 5 with no SID. Alright, so it's doing its thing. And then we will be arriving on ILS 16 left. Let me look at what we've got. We're going to use the truck. It is so hard to see. The truck to... Why is it not taking truck 2, and the pony transition, and we're not using the UKW, so that should give us that. Now we'll get the performance in it information. Yeah, I'm thinking, you know, we'll have some pretty good daylight when we're getting going, but if we don't, that's all right. You know, obviously things will come up. So, you know, we're at 6 a.m. here in the Tennessee area. Obviously a 2-hour flight, you know, would put us at, say, 8 or 9 a.m. We'll go to the F1 limit, take off. All right, I need to get my floodlight or something. No, that's not working. I suppose I can just brighten my background panel a little bit. Maybe that, no, that's still not showing the info. Let's see. Lower, no. Main panel. No, that's that was hate. So I'm pretty sure, there we go. 5. And we'll get that in there. Then we'll get our V speeds. So we've got all that. And then just look at our legs. Make sure, because we will have this here as we arrive. Get that fixed so we don't have any issues, but no discontinuities. And you know, I think we're just gonna want theirs. So we're just gonna want it to go direct there. That'll give us a little bit of a path that makes a little bit of sense. So let's go ahead and get the ATIS information.
2996.
Landing in 2996 for the altimeter.
5G notice in effect. Advise on initial contact. You have information, Charlie.
All right. So we will do that. I don't want to start the APU up yet because we don't have any ground services yet. So let me also get my flight tracking going, because then that will give me a little bit of credit for doing all the pre-flight stuff and all that. All right. So now that we've got our flight plan, we'll get our flight director going, arm our auto throttle, all of that should work. VNav, okay, LNav won't go on. So I'll probably be hopping around a little bit, you know, cutting out some dead parts, just so folks aren't sitting a little bit too long. You know, I can't imagine it's going to take us quite as long to get going. Oh, I'm hearing something. I see ground crew.
Go ahead.
Hi, Captain. Microphone check, please.
Loud and clear.
Okay, Captain. Radio check is complete. We'll contact you when we're ready to start loading.
Alright, so
Roger.
Now I can get some things going.
Cockpit to
because
ground.
now I can tell them I'm starting the APU, and we can go from there.
Go ahead.
We're starting the APU now. Stand by for ground power disconnection in a few minutes.
Roger.
Alright. So we're going to get this. Oh my goodness. I don't know why this is so challenging today. But we got that starting up, so we should see this gauge start to move in a little bit. I hope. Alright, we're going to be flying at 32,000. So we're going to get this set up. There we go. I'm beginning to wonder, because it's like I'm having to click everything multiple times. Alright, we're going to get all these turned on. Get these
Ground
flipped.
cockpit.
Go ahead.
Get the packs off.
The service seems good. Nothing to report.
Roger.
Alright. And we'll get the bleed on. Alright, so we should be all set. Now we can go to power. That'll help a little bit. Alright, and the cabin crew is not on board yet. Alright. Keep turning the master off. I don't know what our initial altitude will be. While we're waiting, we're going to get our IFR clearance. Tri-City Ground, Walker 4021, request IFR clearance to Rossboro.
Walker 4021, Tri-City Ground, cleared to Fort Worth Alliance. Radar vectors THRS, then is filed. Maintain 6,000 feet. Expect flight level tree 20, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 134.425. Squawk 6724.
Cleared to Fort Worth Alliance Airport. Radar vectors THRS, then as filed. Departure frequency 134.425, squawk 6724, Walker 4021.
Negative. Maintain 6,000 feet.
Oh, I forgot that. Maintain 6,000 feet, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, read back correct. Call me back when ready for pushback or engine start.
Call back when ready for pushback and start, Walker 4021. Alright, so at this point,
Cockpit to ground.
I should be able to disconnect ground power because we're on the APU.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect ground power.
Roger. Stand by.
Alright. So we've got all that.
Ground power has been disconnected.
Let's just make sure. Alright, 18.8, so we're good there. So we will get our pumps going. I believe we had stuff in the center. Get our hydraulics set. We've got our packs ready to go. I think honestly, you know, again, we'll turn our logo lights on. Not sure why that was on ground as if we were starting. That was odd. Alright, where is our cabin crew? It does say the door is open. So,
Roger.
there we go. We finally have some.
Hello?
So boarding in
Hi,
8
Captain.
minutes.
How are you?
Hi there, we're fine, thanks.
Great. We're just getting ready for departure, but if you need anything else, just give me a call.
Thank you.
No problem.
Alright. So, it's telling me 8 more minutes or so till we expect boarding. So, nothing terribly different, new. I mean, again, you know, we're flying, folks. Oh, let's see, they might be ready.
Hello.
Hi. Okay. I've spoken to security, and I'm told they'll be ready to send the passengers down to us in a few minutes.
Alright, so I'm going to get this going. Then we're going to tell her, you know, to start boarding when ready.
Okay. Feel free to start boarding whenever they're ready to come on board. Let us know once you've started.
No problem.
Okay, so we need to remove the PMG loaders. So we're going to go here to the menu, FS Actions, Ground Services, and we're going to next page. So we're going to get, okay, so it's departing, so they are leaving? Now I'm confused. Alright, they are, it looks like. Alright, so there we go. Okay, why are the doors closed? That seems odd. But maybe because the PMDG folks left? I don't know. Obviously the folks are doing things. But we'll take a peek. Again, we've got Delta. So, whoop. I love the different zoom in and so forth. So I guess while we're waiting, there we go. Doors are starting. So it says door movement standby. Obviously that's what's happening. That one's opening too. So boarding passengers now. I have my seatbelt on for self-loading cargo. So we should be good. Okay, it's interesting because it's telling me 0 of 0 on board. So definitely that's abnormal. So as far as Microsoft Flight Simulator, here comes our bus, by the way. So we're going to start getting some passengers in here in a minute. You can see them milling around inside the bus. If you've never really paid attention or seen self-loading cargo, and again, it's not perfect. He's probably going to travel right through that other item that isn't GSX related, and then folks are going to start walking up and getting into our 737 PMG model. Very, very well done. Usually, I've certainly enjoyed that. So passenger boarding is starting. And then we will need to let them know, as the captain will call back and so forth. But we're getting to, I think actually we're less than 2 months away from the release of Flight Simulator 2024. And so recently, yesterday actually, I saw a video from a YouTuber. There were, I guess, 24 of them invited to, so here you go, here come the passengers. 24 of them were invited to preview the flight sim, give it a little bit of a hands-on try, this, that, and so, and the other, and the information they shared and things that are coming, like, I am so excited. I don't know that I've ever been as anticipatory of a software release as I am with what I'm hearing. The amount of detail, the capabilities that will be going on and so forth, I'm just really curious, and hopeful that it's going to work exactly as they said. But they talked about needing less bandwidth and less things than we do in some circumstances, or basically just to run the sim. Alright, so I assume they're starting to board.
Go ahead.
Or load, but because you can see the bags over there, obviously. Alright, so they've started loading, but we're just hearing static. So
Roger.
sometimes you'll get a bad alright, so
Hi, Captain. Just to let...
they've started boarding passengers. Okay. So that was waiting and I didn't realize it. Alright, loading says it's 33% complete. We've got 58 people on board right now. So again, I think that's the bus, because you can see there's another one coming. So again, we've got 128. All of them are checked in. So everybody's here at the airport. But I'm guessing we're going to need a third bus, because if we only got 58 off one bus, I assume we're going to get another 58. That's going to get us to 116. All right, there goes the bus that was with the first group. So they're probably going to pick up the stragglers. I do have FSLTL. You know, again, with everything running, sometimes things are a little jerky. I mean, it's interesting how, I mean, the baggage guys aren't too bad. I do like the APU heat shimmer. I think that's really cool. But yeah, just kind of the way the folks are walking. I mean, it's not like I'm feeling that the frame rates are jittery or something. I mean, I think everything's all right. It's just, I think it's how GSX is sending the data with everything else that's going on and running. And, you know, obviously I'm recording, which I'm sure takes a little bit of bandwidth as well. So just making sure here. All right, 95 people according to GSX there. Again, the self-loading cargo isn't showing anything similar, so it's still just showing 59, so I don't understand. But yeah, it's telling me 120, say at 128, so in theory, like passenger boarding is saying 128. There's a different line, but it says 128 of 0, so it just seems like self-loading cargo is a little bit off. So I'm hoping it's not going to have a problem to indicate that they're done. Anyway, let me get back inside and make sure that we are set. Because we are doing things. Let me do the welcome aboard. Let me get all those messages done.
This is your captain speaking. I'd like to welcome you on board this morning's flight to Fort Worth. We're currently preparing for departure up here in the cockpit, and once we're airborne, we'll be climbing to our cruise level of 32,000 feet. We're not anticipating any delays, so we hope to be underway very shortly. Once we push back from the stand, the cabin crew will start securing the cabin. As we head to the departure runway, please make sure you're seated and secured as they make their way around the aircraft.
Alright, 6,000.
The weather is not looking particularly brilliant, so it might be a little uncomfortable at times as we climb to our cruise level. There's nothing to worry about. Just make sure you keep an eye on the seatbelt sign, and I'll turn it off once we're in clearer air.
Right.
Once we're airborne,
and I'm
there
always,
shouldn't be any issue during our climb.
I always
It's
go
a pretty
ahead and
straightforward
just
departure
say,
out of the airport, so nothing to worry about there.
okay, I'm a little
The wind
confused
forecast during
here.
our cruise looks very favorable.
What happened?
So we expect to arrive on time at our destination, but we will of course keep you up to date should there be any changes. If you could get yourself seated and secured in the meantime,
And the APU's running,
we'll be able to make a departure as
but
soon
why
as
are
everything is
my...
ready. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the flight.
Why do I have those errors? That seems odd. Alright, let's get that done. Let's get our flaps. Get our flaps set. Alright, ground to cockpit. Let's see what ground crew's got going on.
Go ahead.
Loading has been completed. We're sending the load sheet up to you now. We'll contact you once the aircraft is closed up, then we'll get you moving.
Welcome aboard this
Roger.
Air Transport
All
service.
right.
Please ensure to place your bags
So
either in
crew's
the
giving
overhead
us our
compartment
notice.
or
Our
in the
flaps
seat
are
in front
moving.
of you.
So I mean, the good news
Do
is the
not
plane
operate
appears
soon, so make sure
theoretically
you
to be
fasten your seatbelt
functional. I
and
just
keep
don't
your
like the
seat
fact
in
that
its upright
I
position.
can't clear
Thank you.
the warnings that have suddenly come up. But hopefully everything's good. I'm using my flight stick and the flaps are doing their thing from there. So we've got our flaps set. We're now awaiting door closure. It does show 128 on board finally. Aircraft loading is complete. I don't know why the intercom is not doing
Hello?
its thing.
Hi, Captain. Okay, here's the load sheet from ground. In the back, we've got 3 crew on board and 128 passengers. That's a total of 131 souls, plus yourselves.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, looks like we're all set to go whenever you're ready.
So again, we're still able to do the okay.
Great. I'll make the call to remove the stairs and you can close the doors.
No problem.
Alright, so hopefully everything is pulling away. Not quite yet. So, it says 15 minutes before we're expected to depart. I will say, I was expecting the sun to come up before this, so this may be in a dark takeoff here. We may just be using the lights and all that, but that's okay. Alright, well hopefully we'll be doing all of that soon. Again, we've got our seatbelt on. There's not much else that can take place. Alright, so we're going ahead and let them know we're ready for push and start. Obviously, they're going to need to get our folks ready to go. Let me get down here. I do need to remove the chocks here. So all of that will work and get us what we need. Man, why are they not disconnecting the stairs? I'm a little bit concerned. But I'm assuming like they're getting things ready. I just don't know that we're going to be able to truly move. So they're getting in there. Alright, the doors are closing. There we go. Alright, I feel a little better now. I'm like, things are not moving along here as I need them to be. So, stairs should pull away in a bit, and we will then be ready for our next steps here. Alright, you can hear the doors closing. Again, we got the front and the back. So there we go. Now we are considered ready for departure.
cabin crew, set doors to automatic and cross-check.
All right. We'll get this off. All right.
Go ahead.
All right, they're saying ready for pushback. So it should hopefully be recording that soon, because I need to get clearance for the engines. Is it gonna give me a problem? Because now it's saying waiting for the action, set your parking brake, and obviously I'm not doing that. All right, so stuff's spooling up there. Just wait until we get a little bit of activity. There we go. Throw that up. All right, in position, set parking brake.
Ground tow is connected. Just heads up, your beacon light is not active.
I don't understand how my beacon light is not active, but
Stand by while
okay.
we start pushdown.
Alright, so maybe it is backwards, but because it's saying wait for GSX message, then start parking brake, which obviously is, not the case, but I mean, I don't know. Let me see, maybe Okay, ready for that. Parking brake released. It's going to yell at me out there.
Parking brake released.
Alright. And then let me get the second engine going, and hopefully we'll be able to... Yeah, it says ready for pushback. Stand by, please. So I don't think we're going to get the opportunity... Okay, please release parking brake. Please set them. So funny. Okay, it is so messed up. So, alright. So we're waiting for oh, I didn't, hold on. I didn't flip my fuel lever here. So we should be okay, I'm assuming. But we'll give it a good engine start. Confirm good engine start. Because, yeah, it's telling me it's under... Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully it will know what it's doing. So it's lowering us down. You can see that. Again, flaps are set. That is set. They're going to have to go get rid of the pin. All of that stuff. So we're going to request
Walker
push and start.
4021, ramp 3, request pushback and engine start.
Walker 4021, Tri-City ground, pushback approved. Face east.
Face east, Walker 4021. Alright, so they're pulling away. So yeah, it's just a lot of things just don't work smoothly together, because yes, we basically lost the points for engine comms, and it's not showing that we've released the parking brake and all this other stuff. So I don't know if the whole self-loading cargo thing is going to just explode on me or not. But because I'm half wondering, if I put everything back and say GSX isn't doing my stuff. All right. Yeah, it's just confused is all I can say. Have they given me my all clear? I didn't see it come up, but I was also looking at the self-loading cargo thing. Not sure. Looks like they did. Nobody's here. So we've got all our lights doing their things. Tri-City Ground, Walker 4021, request taxi to runway.
Walker 4021, runway 5 taxi via Echo, Charlie. Hold short
Taxi
runway
license.
27.
Runway 5, taxi via Echo Charlie, hold short runway 27, Walker 4021. Alright, well, we may lose the GSX piece, I don't know. Because it still thinks I'm, that I'm doing other things, so I don't know. So I'm hoping my crew will know. Let me look at my taxi path, because I'm not fully clear where I'm going. Alright, I am going there. So I think the throttle should be okay. So interesting, it's like really wandering me around a little bit more than I would think. Because yeah, it like self-loading cargo thinks I'm in pushback. So we may end up just tossing self-loading cargo at some point and you know, just using Beyond ATC, but I'm certainly not going to restart the flight for that. Alright. In theory, we should be going the other way, so I am going to basically turn around. You know what, I'm going to probably go the other way. Yeah, because in theory, like, it's just telling me go up there and do a U-turn and then come back. So, it's a little odd. I don't understand why he can't turn sharper than this. There we go, that's a little bit better. But I should have enough room out here to be clear. And yes, we're cycling all the way around. That's where we took off from. Alright. So now we're heading back where we should be. And then instead of being on this road, this line, there's should be a line out there. You can start to see it now in our taxi lights. And that's the path we want to be on. So now we've had things updated. So waiting to cross runway 27. Waiting to cross runway 27. Oops.
Walker 4021, cross runway 27 at Charlie. Continue taxi via Charlie, Delta, Foxtrot.
Cross runway 27 at Charlie. Continue taxi via Charlie, Delta, Foxtrot. Walker 4021. Alright. So we are now crossing the runway. So the painted white lines. It's interesting, like flashing light out there and the trees, whatever, I think those are trees. But we're going down, and then I think there'll be a little bit, like we'll be right near the runway, so there isn't like a huge taxi path here. if I recall correctly, but I think that's where we'll turn onto Delta when we're coming up here. But at least, let's see if the signage is reasonable here. Yeah, it thinks I'm pushing back, and I don't know that there's a way. Like, I've already kind of broken it out of this. Yeah, it won't. I don't want to lose my ability to function. So, yeah, I mean, self-loading cargo, it's not like it does anything in the sim, so I'll be okay. But basically, yeah, to the left of us is the runway, but now we're going to turn, and this is now onto Foxtrot here. And so this is the taxiway, basically, right along the runway.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board this Walker Air Transport.
Okay, now it did switch to taxi. Alright,
As we demonstrate the safety
so
features
maybe we'll be alright.
Please make sure your bags are either in the overhead compartment or under the
And
seat.
again, we're moving at 18, so maybe we finally had enough.
Even when the sign is off.
All aircraft be advised information Delta now current. Altimeter 29907.
Takeoff and land.
Alright, so
Please
we'll
fasten your
update
seat.
our
Make
altimeter.
sure your seat is in the upright position. In case of undepressurization, oxygen masks.
I love how self-loading cargo makes them. In case of undepressurization,
In case of an emergency, there are doors in the front, middle, and back of this aircraft. Locate the one nearest you, and it may be behind you. At this moment, please make sure your phone is switched to
backing
airplane
off the throttle a
mode.
bit,
Seatbelt is fastened.
because we certainly don't need further substantial acceleration.
Please read the safety information card located in the seat pocket in
So we went from 28.3 down to
Walker Air Transport. We wish you to sit back, relax,
26.2. And again, 7,000 foot runway. So this is a 737-700 series, so it is a little bit shorter. So it should need a slower roll. We have to get to like
Walker
128, I
4021,
think.
Contact Tri-City Tower 119.5.
Tri-City Tower 119.5, Walker 4021. Alright, we are here in theory. Question is, can I... Because if I can get a little longer, I want to do that. And it looks like it is giving me that, because obviously I don't want to go off the tarmac in any way, because that would be dangerous. Tri-City Tower, Walker 4021, runway 5, request departure.
Walker 4021, Tri-City Tower, wind calm, fly heading 050, runway 5, cleared for takeoff.
Runway 5, cleared for takeoff. Alright, so we're going to get our landing lights on, turn our taxi light off, get ourselves to ground power. Forgot about that, or to internal power. And we're going to get these back to auto, turn the packs off. Alright. So everything should be set. There we go. Alright. You know what? The cabin's not secured yet. They haven't told me that.
Hi.
Alright. It's
Sorry, I
not
forgot
giving
what
me
I
the
did.
option.
No problem.
But I'm worried that they haven't... let's see, can I do it via PA?
Cabin crew, seats for takeoff, please.
Yeah, so it was short. We didn't have, like, they didn't secure the cabin yet, but that was probably because we didn't have the full amount of time for taxi. So before I get other penalties, we'll get going. All right. So again, we're going to take every bit of space we can here. So I am going to basically give myself as much runway as I can. So we're going to get that set. Okay. All right, so we will get going. So we're going to spin things up. We've got thrust. And we are set. So it does know self-loading cargo, does know we're in takeoff. It is foggy this morning. All right, again, we got to be at like 128 for V1.
100 KTs.
All right, so that will be enough. And we got close. We started getting some of the red, but we've got positive rate.
Positive rate. Gear up.
Should be all set. And I should be able to
Walker 4021.
do
Contact
LNAV.
Tri-City departure.
Okay, everything should be good. Contact Tri-City departure 134.425, Walker 4021. Alright, I cannot clear those, which is not going to be fun. Tri-City departure, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, Tri-City departure. Good morning. Radar contact. Climb maintain 16,000. Altimeter 29907.
Climb and maintain 16,000, Walker 4021.
Walker 4021, turn left, heading 235.
Turn left, heading 235, Walker 4021. Alright, so we are doing that. Let's zoom out a bit here. So, again, low cloud cover that we took off through. So we'll head behind us. We got a little bit of a moon there, and whoop, that jumped a bit, but it's a weird cloud cover because it looks like it just kind of stops at one point. So we're gonna get ourselves up to 10,000 feet. But yeah, you can see we'll get out of this area. So maybe it's some morning fog over the
Walker 4021,
mountains.
clear direct theirs. Resume navigation.
Clear direct theirs, Walker 4021. All right. Well, at this point, we're gonna go ahead and I'll get the main panel a little bit off. I think we're all set. We should have daylight coming soon. Alright, so we'll turn off our landing.
The captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign.
Are we out of fuel in the center tanks? We are. So we'll get that flipped off.
Toilets are located in the front and on the back of this airplane. If you need any assistance,
All right,
don't
so we
hesitate
got
to
two
ask. I hope you enjoy your flight.
2 drinks, 1 food service that's going to be happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign,
no,
so
I
you're
don't
now free
have-
to move around the cabin. However, for
have
your
that
safety, we do
info.
recommend that you remain seated with your belt fastened at all times during the flight. Thank you.
All right, so there we go. We had some things screwed up on the cabin management. But yeah, they're going to start drink service in 11 minutes. So yeah, at this point, we're kind of just getting out of that. And like I said, it just might be the morning fog over the mountains. So really cool view.
Walker 4021,
Can only imagine what
contact
it's going to look
Atlanta
like in
Center
2024.
127.85.
Atlanta Center 127.85, Walker 4021. Atlanta Center, Walker 4021, 14,000.
Walker 4021, say altitude.
14,000.
Walker 4021, Atlanta Center, climb maintain flight level 320.
Climb maintain flight level 320, Walker 4021. Alright, so we'll get this dialed in. Alright, so at this point, now that we don't have much going on, before I let you go, you know, we'll talk through my first impressions of what I heard and the things that kind of stuck out at me. The photogrammetry, they talked about specifically the Grand Canyon, but I assume it's kind of going to be everywhere, because if you read the Microsoft announcement on the website in the flight sim thing, they said basically you've got the digital twin of Earth at literally like every rock you could find, type of thing. So they talked about photogrammetry in the Grand Canyon accurate to within 50 centimeters. So again, it's like 2.2 inches or 2.24 or something like that centimeters per inch. So basically, you know, you're talking about within 2 feet maybe of accuracy, which is insane. You know, I mean, it's a flight sim. We're not like recreating the ground in that kind of detail, but yet we are. So, and they also talked about having 91% of air traffic correctly modeled in the sim. I don't know if that means like live air traffic coming in, so forth, and that they will continue to be pressing to try to get to 100%. They talked about passengers inside your aircraft. So I don't know if you're going to need models like that, or for example, you know, again, I think GSX will do some of that. I think some of the plane models do some of that, like the Phoenix and so forth. Right now in 2020. But they talked about working with the United Nations to properly represent various people, cultures, you know, clothing, this, that, and whatever, and that based on where you're flying in the world, your passenger mix will reflect what you would expect to see as kind of the passengers. So I'm assuming that means, like, if I was in the Middle East, I'd see, you know, more folks of Muslim heritage and you know, from obviously the Middle Eastern countries with, you know, maybe a darker skin tone, so forth. And, you know, if I was flying in the southern U.S., I don't know, maybe I'll see people with cowboy hats and so forth a lot more often, or, you know, I'm not sure, but, you know, they showed very quick images of crowds of people and a little bit of inside one plane. You know, he did say it was a lot of stock footage they were provided by Microsoft and so forth, and it kind of did cycle through the video as he talked. Talked about the career series and the progression. And again, the way they talked about it and how you basically have to get your licensing and then you're able to fly different planes and this and that. It almost sounds like it could replace something like NeoFly.
Center 2755. See you.
Contact Atlanta Center 127.55, Walker 4021. Atlanta Center, flight level 250.
Aircraft calling. Say call sign.
Walker 4021, flight level 250.
Walker 4021, Atlanta Center. Roger.
All right. So yeah, what I was saying is it could potentially replace something like NeoFly. Speaking of replacing other things, they did talk about a desire to really provide you everything you need in the sim, so that you don't have to go outside for other things. And they were talking more specifically about flight planning. So it's like, are they going to have the detail level that Navigraph and SimBrief have that might then not require you to have those? Or maybe you'll still need some sort of a subscription and they'll just use something like Navigraph to provide that information, but they'll do it more seamlessly. It looked like they'd have checklists and things for planes. They also talked about like storage and how a lot of things, will be in the cloud and things won't be installed locally per se, if you're getting it from the marketplace. So they did make it clear, like if you're doing third-party aircraft, like those will still be on your drive and so forth, but they're trying to decrease the space usage. Trying to think what else. Oh, they had like photo missions that basically, and the one he showed it was I had to fly into, I think he said Thailand or something, land on this lake, and then get the plane over in front of this old temple, and then basically set the photo up with the plane in the foreground, the temple in the background, and so forth, and then you get credit. But it's also it's a creative way then to get you to use and get familiar with the camera system and the adjustments and how to change lighting and time of day and stuff like that. All right, they're going to start drinking or drink service in about 3 minutes, so if I'm still talking, they may hear that. I'm just seeing our passengers are slightly negative right now, so I don't know. I mean, maybe again because they're thirsty, but we are at this point showing, let's see, I can only see an hour and 34 minutes still. But those are kind of the main. I guess they talked about they've also partnered with Frontier, who are the creators of Planet Zoo, and so we've heard about animals being present, and if you land somewhere, you might see wildlife, and obviously you can also get out of the plane and do things. So they did show some of that, checking and doing kind of your checks and just making sure that everything looks good, and I'm sure some of it is the models that come with the game will be maybe more prepared.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, we will be starting our in-flight drink service in a few moments. If you could please clear all aisles and ensure that any bags are placed in the overhead lockers.
Walker 4021, contact Atlanta Center 133.6.
Atlanta Center 133.6, Walker 4021. Atlanta Center, Walker 4021, flight level 320.
Walker 4021, Atlanta Center, roger.
Alright, the only thing I haven't verified is that my cruise, it is not, because then basically what ends up happening is none of my calculations work properly if I don't do that, because, for example, when I go to progress, like it wouldn't have time to descent, or time to top of descent. So 12:35, we're at 11:07, so yeah, basically about an hour and a half right now, and that's to descent, so, which is interesting. Well, I guess an hour and 20, because it's showing me an hour and 34. No, it's really, yeah, like an hour and 26, so. And of course, again, it shows the time, but you're going to be at a different level and speed when you're, you know, slowing down and coming in for a landing and so forth. So, yeah, so a pretty straight line. The path doesn't turn a lot, so even though that is showing me 320 miles of our flight path, we don't look like we're doing anything other than what we can see here on the 40-mile range in front of me here on the pilot MFD. So, you know, those are kind of the key things, but I am super excited to see how this is going to work and how it's going to come along. But really thinking that it's just going to change some things. Now, one thing I did see in the announcement that I hadn't heard anyone talk about specifically, but you know, we've talked about where they've said the old enhancements and so forth will be, you know, all mods and this. I just keep seeing the whatever that is. I guess those are contrails, but they're just showing up in the sun. Strange. All right. So drink service officially starting. Food service is going to be in 44 minutes, but there we go. We can see a blinking plane now. So it's just as the sun is starting to come up, we're getting a bit of different views. So really cool. But, you know, they talked about old mods that they should work and so forth. And I think one of the most important things that I saw is there's technically 4 different versions, or really levels, of Flight Simulator 2024 that you can buy. So I think they have a standard, a premium deluxe, and then they have what's called the Aviator series. And in the Aviator series, basically, you know, each series gets you more planes, but it also gets you some more airports. Now, I haven't been able to find an airport list to know if that would be anything that drives me. But right now, I'm honestly thinking, you know, and the challenge becomes, do I spend the money for premium deluxe? That's as high as I would go. I'm not looking at the Aviator, but that's basically kind of the highest level that they have currently. But like right now, I've had standard edition the whole time, and the only thing that kind of drives me up to that level, well, there's a couple things, because you get a Cessna Longitude, which I don't think I have even now, and you get kind of the 747, and I don't know if it was a 767, but there were a couple Boeing aircraft, like wide bodies, up at that level that you get. So similar to getting the 747, which was kind of in the standard edition, but you have to go a little bit higher. But, you know, I have the 777 from PMDG, and so going with that, my comfort level's higher because the Aviator series, the 30 new aircraft, or the 30 aircraft you get with it, are all the aircraft that have been released from 2021 to now in the Xbox Marketplace officially from Microsoft. So, you know, whatever those 30 planes were that they would sell for $14.99 or $19.99 a piece. So I mean, when you think about it, I mean, if they're $19.99, if each plane was $20, you're getting $600 worth of planes, and the difference is basically from $130 for the premium deluxe edition to $200 for the aviator edition. So you know, if I knew I was going to use any of the things that are there, you know, to the point where if I didn't get them to begin with, I would buy them. I mean, you know, you're really looking at, you know, you'd need just to buy 4 planes at $20 before it was cheaper to have just paid for it ahead of time. And if there's one thing I did learn, because there were some things that I would have liked to have used that I couldn't, because you needed, say, the deluxe version to have some basic planes and plane components that some other plane model was built on top of, and without it you just basically got, you know, the purple and white, hey, I don't have anything layout, and you couldn't really use it. So and to jump up, there's no possibility that Microsoft offers, like, hey, you bought standard, just pay the difference between standard and deluxe and you can upgrade to deluxe. You would have to just repurchase for the full price to get deluxe. And so it is kind of an important decision of, like, if at any point in time you're suddenly like, oh, I do want this, your best thing is just then buy the higher version. So you know, we'll see. But so because there weren't, I don't think, any real planes that I felt compelled about in the premium, the kind of the middle level. So it's kind of like it's either standard or all the way up, but not, you know, all the way up to aviator, unless somehow, again, I talk myself into that. I don't know. We'll see. You know, I'm hoping, again, we have at least 4 years of longevity before Microsoft might revisit this, but, you know, it's possible. I mean, I just can't even imagine with all the stuff they were just already starting to talk about. You know, and we're 2 months out. I'm sure they're going to announce other things that we haven't even heard about that are going to be just as fabulous. I don't know what else would be significant to do. I mean, you know, unless somehow, if they can get the photogrammetry, you know, twice as good and get it down to 25 centimeters or something, and to do that, they couldn't do it with the graphics engine they had or something. I mean, those would be the type of things that might work, but I would assume that they just have to send the data and the engine can render it at whatever level, because, again, obviously plane interiors and so forth, you know, it's not, ooh, they're accurate to 50 centimeters, because obviously you wouldn't be able to see buttons and read text or anything. So obviously the engine is capable of rendering kind of whatever quality it sends. You know, but I get, like, out the window, if there's, you know, twice as much data because there's twice as much detail, I don't know if that's truly how it works. Like, I honestly think it isn't how it works, because otherwise I just don't know how they're going to be sending all this over the internet and over what they're saying is a lower bandwidth than you've needed till now. You know, and again, they did say they're just sending you the data for what you see. So obviously, you know, but again, at 32,000 feet, I see a lot more than I would at 2,000 feet. So, you know, but again, I'm sure there's some engineering and calculations that go into, like, all right, at 32,000 feet, you need to just kind of see this. But, yeah, for things like gliders and whatever, they've done, you know, and I've not done any of those type of things, but I could see myself, like, poking around and delving into things there that I just never would have, because they're also going to like allow you to fly balloons. So, like you can have just a hot air balloon, and then you have a hot air balloon with a propeller that kind of helps move it. That's from, I think they said Duke or something. So I don't know if that's, like they're saying, oh, it's this plane from Boeing, like if Duke is the balloon manufacturer in the real world that these are modeled after, or if Duke is the company that they got them from. Oh, and the other thing, and I think that's got to do with the
Walker 4021. Contact Memphis Center 132.1. See you.
Memphis Center 123.1, Walker 4021.
Negative. Memphis Center on 132.1.
I swear that's what I said, but okay. 132.1, Walker 4021. Memphis Center, Walker 4021, flight level 320.
Walker 4021, Memphis Center, roger.
Alright, I'm going to get myself on auto respond and I'm going to sit back, but what they talked about was they brought working title in-house, so I'm assuming that means Microsoft acquired them, and they have, whatever expertise they bring to the table. They're not just working with them as an outside partner. They are now part of the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. So that's the stuff I can remember offhand, but it was pretty cool. So I'd encourage you, I guess, again, there were like 24 people that were allowed to see this. It's like mid-September, so go look at YouTube, and I'm sure you can find videos from someone that you enjoy listening to, which is kind of what I did. I found a creator that I've built some trust with in how they've provided material before, and that's who I listened to, and I loved it. So looking forward to that. And again, the fact that those planes from 2021, whatever, are working, like that shows that they're honoring what they said they were going to do. So I'm really stoked, thinking that everything we have might just possibly be able to function. I will be curious about things like beyond ATC and injection and all that.
4021. Contact Memphis Center 126.75.
Contact Memphis Center 126.75. Walker 4021.
Good morning once again from the cockpit.
Memphis Center.
I hope
Walker
you're enjoying the
4021.
flight so far.
Flight level 320.
We've reached our
Walker
cruise level and are
4021,
currently flying at an
Memphis
altitude
Center,
of
roger.
32000 feet.
All right, so
We're
just
expecting
given
to arrive
my
on time as planned. Progress
given
is
my
going very well.
announcements.
The weather up ahead looks good, so it should be a comfortable flight. As always, though, please keep an eye on the seatbelt sign, and we always recommend you stay seated and secured just in case we encounter any random areas of turbulence. Thanks very much.
All right, so he's all set. Drink service actually isn't quite done yet. So we'll have to keep an eye on all that, but I will be doing that. The sun is obviously rising. We probably should have more clear daylight by the time we're coming in for a landing, but I will join you in a bit. All right, heading back just as we've passed top of descent. You can see we're just a couple 100 feet down here. So we are beginning the descent into Fort Worth. Are about 92 nautical miles from the airport. Again, obviously, we're not going to take a direct line there, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But I'm taking a look at all the calls. So 2987 is where we were on the altimeter. And basically they've cleared us to flight level 190. So we'll do that. And I assume we'll get an
Walker
update.
4021. Contact Fort Worth Center 127.6.
So on the self-loading cargo
Contact
side,
Fort Worth Center,
all the services are
127.6,
done.
Walker 4021. Good morning, Fort Worth Center, Walker 4021. Descending via truck 2, flight level 303.
So
Walker 4021, Fort Worth Center, roger.
So just gotta go ahead. We can go ahead and let people know we started our descent. Let me look and see where we should land. 12:59. So 20 minutes. Okay.
Good morning once again from the cockpit. As you may have noticed, we've begun our descent into Fort Worth.
All right.
Depending on the destination air traffic, we should be landing in around 20 minutes. In the meantime, I will be instructing the cabin crew to get the cabin ready for our arrival. After that, the seatbelt sign will be illuminated, and you'll need to stay seated until after landing. On that note, if you need to use a toilet, then you should try to visit one now, as they will be closed during the approach. For now, though, I will wish you a very good morning once again, and I'll speak to you in a short while once we've landed.
All right. So we're heading in. We do a little bit of that dog leg there, and then we're going to truck, and from truck then we're going to argue, and that will get us on final approach. So let's see, just kind of again, so we can plan things out. Okay, so we got to be 4,000 at argue. So it knows that. I'm assuming it will be good. I am going to turn on my landing monitor early, because I am always fumbling for that every single time and then panicking, so there's not a real reason to not have it on. And you can see, you know, we've got a 3-degree angle, which is obviously what we'd want to descend at. So, you know, you pass the time, you do the stuff. Go ahead and set that. Now, this is, you know, a full-size airport, let's say that. I think the runways are 11,000 feet, so they are absolutely adequate for us to land. Should be perfectly fine to have things come in. And, you know, we're getting around there. So this is the first race of what would be known as the playoffs in NASCAR. So I think it's the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 500 at the Texas Motor Speedway is what we are bringing our folks in for. And it's obviously the last race of September. We've just got, you know, October and into a little bit of November. We only go 1 week into November, so there's actually 5 races in October, and then the 6th one that we end at in Phoenix in November. So there we go. Go from Kane and Sassy. I'll go with Sassy is how we're going to say that. But yeah, it says 12:59. It seems fast, but could happen. So,
Walker 4021. Contact Fort Worth Center 2475. Have a good one.
Contact Fort Worth Center 2475. Walker 4021. Good morning, Fort Worth Center, Walker 4021. Descending via truck 2, flight level 208. Walker 4021. Fort Worth Center, roger. Walker 4021, descend maintain 9,000 feet, altimeter 2990. Descend maintain 9,000 feet, altimeter 2990, Walker 4021.
2990 now. That's a big difference because it was 97 before. Whoops. Let me get that lower. So 9,000. Otherwise, obviously, it will stop, and that will be not a result we want. Alright. So we're heading in there. We've got 3.9 for Sassy. Obviously, we're going to get through the transition level shortly, so we'll update our altimeter there. But again, we're still at our 3%. Now it's telling me 48 nautical miles to the airport, so about half of when we came back on the air here. So, there we go. Transition time. And so we got to catch up a bit, but it's slowing down here. So going to a 2% for a moment. I'm sure it'll readjust. There we go. Now the other thing I want to look at, speed-wise.
4021. Contact regional approach 118.1.
So, I mean, we're high enough.
Contact
We really
regional
don't
approach,
need flaps.
Walker 4021. See you.
Okay, so we're getting a regional approach.
Regional,
So we
Walker
are here.
4021. 16,500 with information Yankee.
We're basically a little bit northwest of DFW Airport of Dallas-Fort Worth.
Expect the visual approach runway 16 left.
Altimeter 2990. Expect the visual approach runway 16 left. Walker 4021.
All right. So, yeah, it's got us on 16 left, which is what we want. Again, we're not doing the visual approach, but you know, we'll go from there. I think last time we did get you know, the approach to work appropriately, so we'll see and hope that things will do the same here. So we want to be 2,000 at, or 10,000 at Blecko, so we've got 14 miles for that, so basically you know, 4,000 feet and 14 miles, I assume. It'll work. It's not, you know, system knows how to calculate. And yes, we'll basically be crossing over this lake, whatever it is, and then kind of making the turn. So Blecko's kind of toward the far side. I think it's on the lake here, but and then we'll turn a little bit to truck, and then you can see we head down to Argue at 4,000 But you can see the 4,000 above there. Okay, down to 13. So definitely keeps adjusting because it was going down at like 1850. Now it's 1650. I think I stated, yeah, all the drink services, all of that was all set and completed. So we're not going to have any issues with that where passengers will be unhappy because they didn't get what they needed. But getting real close here to 10,000. We'll get the seatbelt sign turned on. It's telling me 1 of 3 services were not completed. Maybe they canceled the drink service? That seems unlikely, but I know she said she was just going to do it early. But yeah, it gave us a 10-point deduction because it said 1 of the services were canceled before being announced to the passengers. So interesting. All right.
Walker 4021, descend and maintain 4,000 feet.
So we're going to turn this on.
Descend and maintain 4,000 feet. Walker 4021.
And then the seat belt has been turned on. Okay. So descend and maintain 4,000. All right. Whoops. It's always a challenge to dial this in. All right. Looks like we have some traffic somewhere over in that direction. I don't know. Above, below. Not sure I see it. Alright, and then we're going to set the approach so that it can do what it needs. Well, there you go. It already grabbed the glide path. That's impressive. Good news is then it's bringing us down, but I feel better if I know it's on the glide path because then like that should be sending us information out and should get us at the proper height at the proper time. Alright, so 240 and argue we want to be down to 210, but we have a little ways. I mean, we got 5 miles to truck, and then I'm sure it's 10 or so to argue. So, so I should be able to get the cabin crew.
Walker 4021, leave truck heading 185. Expect radar vectors
Cabin
for
crew,
visual approach
prepare the
runway
cabin for
16 left.
Alright, we'll have them
Leave truck heading 185. Expect radar vectors for visual approach runway 16 left. Walker 4021.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please make sure your seat is on its upright position and your seatbelt is fastened. Our crew will be soon preparing the cabin for our arrival. Thank you for your attention.
Walker 4021, turn left, heading 190, vectors for the approach.
Turn left, heading 190, Walker 4021.
So, not sure if we'll go quite that far, but...
Maintain 3,000.
Alright.
Descend, maintain 3,000.
I'm honestly not sure that I need to worry about this now. I don't think I do, because once the glide path is locked in, it's kind of overriding that. So, and we'll have to turn a bit more. So, I mean, the airport's kind of really through the pillar is where we're at. 6,900 feet here. Again, we got to be above 4,000 at argue in 10 miles. And again, the altimeter's obviously showing 7, but above ground level. Obviously a little bit more than that. But hopefully, using the flight stick, we can get a good, smooth landing. I've been struggling with that as I just continue to try to get better and better with the controls, but again, now that I'm not panicking and putting up the landing monitor and all that, hopefully it'll be better. I would expect things to lock in. So there's something there. I'm not sure if that's what we're seeing, but again, we would have... Is there someone nearby? So it's somewhere. But once we turn, we should be in good shape to pick up, hopefully, the localizer for the ILS. But right now we wouldn't, so you can see the runways out there, so that is our airport. That is where we are heading. 5,000 feet, 2 miles. So we should be excellent.
Walker 4021, airport is at your 11 o'clock 15 miles.
Yep.
Report the field in sight.
I already pointed it out to you, so we're good.
Field in sight, Walker 4021.
And there we go. We are now locked in,
Walker
so
4021, cleared visual approach runway 16 left.
this should be the best.
Cleared visual approach 16 left, Walker 4021.
The best that
Walker
we can do.
4021, contact Alliance Tower 135.15.
Over to Tower 135.15, Walker 4021. Have a good one.
All right.
Alliance Tower, Walker 4021, visual runway 16 left.
Walker 4021, Alliance Tower, wind 145 at 8, runway 16 left, cleared to land.
Runway 16 left, cleared to land, Walker 4021.
And there is a 16 right, so I'm assuming that's the one right next to it. But there we go. So let's start lowering the flaps. Should get our speed way down. I didn't do that. Silly me. And we're gonna get our wheels down and all that. So that should all get us much slower. So we'll see what I didn't also do. Whoops.
Hello.
Hi, Captain. The cabin is secured for landing.
Alright, and we did not put this in.
You can take your seats now. We're almost ready.
No problem.
Alright, so we want to get a couple more flap levels down.
Seats for landing, please.
So we're going to get ourselves down to 137 or so. So yeah, we're going a bit fast. The other thing I want to do is I want to get this. Why is this not working? Well, alright. So we won't have that to slow us down. But at this point, we're gonna pretty soon we'll take things off, but there we go. We're at least getting to a reasonable speed here.
500.
And there we go. So a little sloppy for dialing in, but alright. So we want to get down here, and again we'll try to avoid flying into the ground. That would be preferred. At least not crazy crosswind, so let's see.
50, 30, 20, 10.
All right. So we'll get ourselves slowing down. 282, not terrible. So yeah, I didn't have the speed brakes armed, so that's not great.
Walker 4021, exit left at Alpha.
Exit left at Alpha, Walker 4021.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our destination. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the aircraft is parked and the fasten seatbelt sign is off. Please be careful while opening the overhead compartment.
Okay,
as
so there's
items might
Alpha.
fall during the flight.
So it did actually give us a good call.
Walker journey, and if you need any help, please don't hesitate to ask. In behalf of our crew and all the team, we thank you so much.
All right,
for
so
choosing
we've
Fly
got to go to
Walker
ramp
Transport.
50 is what it's telling us to expect.
Thank you.
I assume that's going to be this way. So I'm going to cross over
Walker
that way.
4021, contact ground 132.65.
Ground 132.65.
Okay, we'll get
Walker
our
4021.
flaps up.
Doors to manual, please.
Okay, so we'll get to our assigned gate.
Walker 4021,
Ladies
request
and gentlemen,
taxi to allocated
please remain
gate.
seated until the captain turns off the seatbelt sign.
Walker 4021, ramp 50 taxi via Alpha.
Thank you.
Ramp 50 taxi via Alpha, Walker 4021.
All right. So let's get ourselves there. We've got our flaps up. Am I not disconnected? I guess I'm not. All right. So, not sure how far we'll need to go, but we'll get ourselves over there. Assuming it'll be a little ways. So we'll probably be taxiing for a bit. But yes, better flight. Still struggling a little bit. The plane just tends to float when it gets close to the ground, and then I feel like I need to jam the stick forward. And obviously that's less than preferable. I mean, maybe what I need to do then is really disarm the auto throttle and take the thing down to idle and let it float down once I'm down there. But we can get this dialed back. And right now we're going 10. But nice weather here, and again, as I said, you know, we got here with some nice daylight. Didn't know for sure that there was going to be sunshine, but had a good feeling about it. Alright, I'm going to move the throttle up a bit, because we are clearly not going any faster than the 10 miles an hour, and we certainly can do that. We'll see if that helps. I've certainly increased the throttle, but I don't know that our speed has improved in any way. But you can see a lot of planes over there off to the right. I'm guessing we're somewhere out there. Just zooming out on my map a little bit so I'm not surprised by the turn when it happens. Alright, we're gonna ease the throttle up a little bit more. Couple notches. They're not real notches, but just where I felt it moved a couple times. I was going to say, now it's like really speeding up, so I do want to be aware of what's happening, but yeah, but still no turn. I do see gates on my taxi map, so there are parking spots that I could have been at out here. And we did have a relatively long roll, because again, the speed brake would normally, with the spoilers popping up, that would have helped, having that ready. I'm guessing because I was doing it so late, the system probably wouldn't have had time or something, so maybe it's locked at that point. All right, so we're turning up here and then heading somewhere. So the gate's not immediately here. But gonna get myself over. So we've got all the Amazon Prime planes. A little bit early turn. Again, trying to get used to some of that. The speed, I'd rather not miss the turn. But I don't want to roll off the taxiway either. Oh goodness. So we've got a bit of a hill here. So I don't know where gate 50 is. Because yeah, this almost seems like cargo. We've got a lot of Amazon planes on both sides. Oh, okay. We actually are going, but to get in there, interesting. We have to go up here and kind of at the top of the hill, and then we come back and we're going to a gate right near the runway there. So I'm assuming it'll slow down here with the uphill. Guess we'll find out, because right now it's not. Alright. A little bit bumpy. But we basically are doing a 180-degree turn, sort of. There you go. You can see we're straightening out and then turning again. So I'd rather give myself a little more room. Yeah, I'm thinking that Amazon plane is where we need to go. But you can see where the sun's at, where our shadows are. Because, yeah, we're going to take the one in between. Because, again, the prime air is already in that one. So that would be our normal expected slot. And again, once we have traffic injection and so forth, I assume those type of things will stop, because we keep getting sent to gates where they're already occupied. So get ourselves into the spot, and yes, this is the spot next to it, and where it would have liked me to go is where the Amazon Prime plane is already. All right. Why is it not? Okay. So we got the parking brake set. Yep. All right. So at this point, we can throttle back, turn off our engines, and turn off the light, all of that.
Ground to cockpit.
Go ahead.
Hi, Captain. Microphone check, please.
Loud and clear.
Roger. Okay, Captain. Ground power is available. Stand by. We'll start getting you offloaded in a couple of minutes.
All right.
Roger.
So, we have made it. So, pretty good. Wow, there's a big plane next to us there. Yeah, I'm a little bit over, but wow, we're like a dwarf compared to that thing. So, whatever it is, certainly pretty big. So yeah, it gave us a 1.2. Let's see. SLC says I landed at 358. Yes, 358 is what it gave me, so the 282 didn't quite pull that off. Disappointing. Not sure that it will all work. It should, but we'll see.
Cabin crew. The aircraft is secure. Please open the doors when ready and begin deboarding.
All right. So there they go.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you don't forget any items on this plane. If you need any help, our staff will be punctual to give you any assistance. We wish you a pleasant onward journey.
All right. So we'll do our thank you announcement.
I hope you enjoyed your flight with Walker this morning, and I'd like to wish you a safe onward journey. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for flying with us.
All right, so we've got all our announcements. There we go. Everything's running. Get all these turned off again. And we should be in pretty good shape. All right. So at this point, we've got what we need.
Hello.
We're not going to wait for cleaning or any of that. So
Everyone's offloaded. Fantastic landing, by the way. Much appreciated.
Thanks a lot.
Just give me a buzz if you need anything.
All right.
Ground to cockpit.
So
Go ahead.
I'm sure they're going to tell us they're ready to unload.
Reminder, if you're using software to track
There you go.
airline flights, you may want to finalize your flight now if you haven't already done so.
Roger.
All right, so yeah, it gave me a B minus. So we got 1,200, I think, out of, what was it, 1,247 out of 1,775. So our climb was a little crazy. Yeah, passengers were a little more upset. We didn't have the started comms. We didn't have the cabins secure. Those are my big point losses looking at things. But at this point, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, but haven't dropped a like or are not a subscriber, please consider that. And hopefully you'll be back for our trip to next week's race. And I'll see you next time.